Don't give up, man. Don't give up. Salman Khan, whatever you say, you can't accuse his films of being high IQ. Put your brains aside
and watch.
And just go with bhai. My learning from what Amir Khan said is the value of compartmentalizing. Red carpet is not really done in our world. So it was like, acha, ye kya ho raha hai yahan pe? First time I was going to a Bollywood party, a young entertainment journalist came with a mic, and put it on my face and said, Amish, who are you wearing? So I said, I'm sure you meant what am I wearing? And I'm wearing a pair of jeans and a shirt and a jacket.
You said that? You said I'm literally wearing...
I genuinely had no idea what she was saying. And I met Karan and Apoor. I said, yaar, tere kaise journalist hai yaar Bollywood mein? I love Rajnikant movies. This assumption that the youth have no attention spans or you have to dumb it down for them, I don't agree with that. Look, I think the youth of today will either give you nothing or they'll give you everything. Money can often force you to do things you don't want to do. Often if you jump without thinking, your dream can turn into a nightmare. I stopped counting at 20 rejections. Every publisher I sent it to, saying, this book is not going to work, it's a guaranteed flop. No dishonor in having a job that pays the bills. Multitasking nahi hota hai. Multitasking is the biggest con job. So put yourself in an uncomfortable situation and watch your brain grow. If you're not failing, then actually you're not at the edge. Politicians will do what politicians do. You can't blame them for that. I'm a very proud Hindu. That doesn't mean that I hate anyone else or dislike anyone. I don't feel the need to do that. We don't teach enough about our own traditions. Our education system is designed to make, frankly, Englishmen out of us. There's a market for babas, for people like me, and at least we're doing something about it.
Today we have with us someone who has redefined mythology for modern readers. From a banker to a best-selling storyteller, his Shiva Trilogy and Chandra Series has sold over 6 million copies. But Amish Tripathi is not just a writer. He was also India's cultural diplomat in London, and through both his fiction and non-fiction books, he's been reintroducing India's ancient wisdom to a modern audience. His latest book, The Chola Tigers, Avengers of Somnath, brings to life 11th century for modern readers. We're going to talk today about gods and pop culture, India and the world, and also the man behind the myths. Amish Tripathi, welcome to The Other Side with Brut.
Thank you. Thank you, Meg. Thank you for having me.
So, Amish, when was the last time you felt like a normal person?
I'm a normal person. Yeah.
Not
like
a best-selling author, not
right
walking
now,
the can carpet, not sort of being at the center of really how mythology is defined, most sought after everywhere when it comes to decoding, ancient wisdom. When was the last time you felt normal?
I'm feeling completely normal right now. I'll tell you, the only time I did not feel normal was on the red carpet at Cannes, because that was a very, very strange atmosphere. And look, I'm not a film guy, right? I'm an author. Working on video games. I'm a former diplomat. Our world is very different. The red carpet is not really done in our world. So it was like, acha, ye kya ho raha hai yahan pe? But I guess that's the only time I felt abnormal. Let me tell you a story about a red carpet.
Please,
okay?
Please.
This was when my second book came out, Secret of the Nagas. And, it had, by the second book, it had really taken off. And Karan Johar had invited me for his party. And it was a big party. First time I was going to a Bollywood party. I had never read Page 3. I had no idea. I used to read Economic Times and Business Standard. I was a banker and I had no idea. Okay. And I landed up, I remember it was at the Taj. I landed up by myself and there was a red carpet outside. So I just, stood awkwardly out there and I walked in. And remember, this was 2011. So there's a proper, formal camera. A young entertainment journalist came with a mic, and put it on my face and said, Amish, who are you wearing? Now, I have no idea. I'm a banker. So I assumed maybe Bollywood journalist, maybe your English isn't that good. So I said, I'm sure you meant what am I wearing? And I'm wearing a pair of jeans and a shirt and a jacket.
You said that? You said I'm literally wearing...
I genuinely had no idea what she was saying. Who are you wearing? And who are you wearing? So then I was thoroughly confused. She looked at me like I'm mad. I looked at her like she's mad. And I walked in and I met Karan and Apoor. I said, यार तेरे कैसे जर्नलिस्ट है यार बॉलीवुड में आगे पूछ रहे हैं who are you wearing? No, you're supposed to say the designer. I said, what do I know, man? I'm a banker. My socks match is good enough.
The socks match is good enough. So that was your introduction to page 3, from Economic Times to page 3. From banker to best-selling author, Amish, what was the moment, give us a glimpse into what was that moment when you realized, I want to do this full time. I want to start writing. I want to look at mythology. Take us back to that time. Give us an anecdote on what was going through your mind then.
So, look, my first 2 books, Immortals of Melua and Secret of the Nagas, were written while I was still in my financial services job. My last job was in life insurance.
Right. Life insurance.
Yeah. It's as boring as it comes. As Woody Allen had said, there are worse things than death. Have you ever spent an evening with a life insurance guy? And I actually managed the most boring department within life insurance as well, which is product management.
Okay.
Besides marketing and service quality, it is.
So what did 24 hours in your life look like then when you were a banker?
So because look, financial services, it's hard work and they pay well, but it's really hard work. 6 days a week, often 7 days a week, 10, 12 hours days. I used to write on the backseat of my car during the office commutes. 5-6 years of life like this. Working on my financial services job, writing during my commutes on the backseat of my car. And when the book, I self-published my first book, actually, using the weekend, usually a Sunday, to just fly out to a place, do a promotional event and come back. So that was my life. I was burning the candle at both ends. Obviously, it was unsustainable, but look, I come from a very humble background. You can't be irresponsible with your career choices. So India is a much different place today. But in the 2010s, you have to be smart and pragmatic. It's just that the first book took off and I actually started making money from it. But I didn't know whether it was a fluke or it's a pattern.
Self-published, first book.
It became a bestseller in the first week itself, right? Then many of the publishers who rejected it came to bid for it in the first 4-5 months. So I signed a very good deal. Now the second book also did well. So I resigned only at that time.
After the second book became a bestseller.
Very pragmatic, very practical, very boring decision. And I find no dishonor in that. It's look, if you jump without thinking, your dream can turn into a nightmare, right? So have a dream, but you need something to pay the bills. So there's no dishonor in having even if it's a life insurance job, pays the bills. You can meet your responsibilities.
Tell us a little bit about rejection. You self-published, but I'm sure you must have gone to, different companies, publishers. Was there rejection of the manuscript?
Oh, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that. How was that like?
I joke about this often, that the Indian publishing industry is in many ways, microcosm of India. You put 10 publishers in one room, you'll get 20 opinions. Okay. Each publisher will have 2 opinions. This is the way we Indians are, man. We are argumentative. But on my books, there was rare unanimity. Every publisher I sent it to, say, this book is not going to work. It's a guaranteed flop. I stopped counting at 20 rejections.
20 rejections the first time around.
We sent it.
You stopped counting.
I had an agent. We sent it to not just to the big publishers, everyone and anyone, including regional publishers. No one accepted it.
How many publishers would you have?
I think maybe at least 30, 35, because we sent it to all, not just the English ones. Everyone. And some gave pretty detailed feedback for why Immortals of Melua would be a guaranteed flop. One of the things I was told is that the main market are the youth, and they're only interested in campus romance novels or office politics, some scandal in the office, those kind of novels. And I'm writing a book I've written a book on a religious subject. So he said they won't be interested in this subject. I was also told that the book is too long. The story is very fast paced, but apparently, and this was 2008, 2009, right? Apparently, even at that time, they're saying the youth have no attention span. The book cannot be longer than 100, 150 pages.
Just a very
And
quick
my books
read.
are 400, 500 pages.
At least, right?
And then I was also told that you have the story pace is very good, but you keep having these Gyan sessions every second, third chapter, where you want to discuss some philosophies, you want to talk about deep subjects, you're quoting the Vedas, you're quoting the Puranas. He said, the youth aren't interested in this, and I kid you not, I won't name that publisher. One publisher had actually told me that if you want to appeal to the youth, you have to dumb it down. Can you imagine that? I was actually told that you have to dumb it down because the youth apparently can't. I'm like, oh, how can you think of your own audience that way, man? And luckily, like I said, I was in a financial services job. So I had enough money to pay the bill. So I didn't have to compromise on my book. For me, this was the voice of my soul. I said, the hell with it, I'll self-publish. Yeah? So I self-published and it actually took off. And ironically, most of my readers are actually the youth.
Correct.
Right? And they're the ones who actually go deeper into the books and ask the deeper philosophical questions at my lit fest, etc. So this assumption that the youth have, no attention spans or you have to dumb it down for them, I don't agree with that. Look, I think the youth of today will either give you nothing or they'll give you everything. You either have 2 seconds and they just scroll up, or they give you an entire weekend. They'll buy 3-4 of your books and binge read it all. They'll download an entire season and binge watch it all. So they give you nothing or they give you everything. You have to have the quality that they should want to give you everything. And the second thing, this thing that, that you have to dumb it down to make it mass. Look, we all have different aspects to our career, right? I love Salman Khan movies. I love Rajnikant movies. Salman Khan, whatever you say, you can't accuse his films of being high IQ.
Right.
Right.
He has his own own market.
Put your brains aside
and watch.
And just go with bhai. Okay, that's what it is. And I enjoy that. Right? That doesn't mean I won't enjoy an Interstellar also. It depends on the mood I'm in, yeah? Okay, so it's not that just because someone enjoys brainless content sometimes, that is the only content they enjoy. No, sometimes they like deep content as well, right? So there's a market for it all. You just have to make that quality good enough that they should want to give you their time.
That's deeply insightful of the young generation. One thing that rejection taught you, having those 30, 35 rejections very early on, if you had to put it in one word for our young audiences.
Don't give up, man. Don't give up. And I know sometimes that sounds impractical. And I could afford not to give up because I had a job that was paying the bills, right? बाप दादा का मतलब आशीर्वाद है, जायदाद कुछ नहीं है. And this is true of most of us Indians. India started becoming wealthy only post 1991, frankly.
Of course.
So there could be a few youngsters today whose parents will leave them a good amount. Most are making their own lives. So one lesson, no dishonor in having a job that pays the bills. It allows you to keep the things that are important to your soul, it allows you to keep it pure. Because money can often force you to do things you don't want to do, right?
Doesn't align with your core values or things that
what if I didn't have this? As long as you're not doing anything illegal.
Of course.
Right? There's no dishonor in a boring job. Yeah.
It's been 20 years, Amish. You've done bestsellers after bestsellers, fiction, you went into non-fiction. There are many topics that most authors who are writing mythology, at this cusp of mythology, religion, bringing it all to a young audience, there's very little you've shied away from, including your previous book. What has the journey been like? When I ask this very broad question, what I mean is, how have you been able to keep true to the core of what you want to bring to a young audience from that very first book, the philosophies that you talk about, and the lights, camera, action of the world that you're in. You're advising people in governance. You're advising people in the movie business. You're advising. You're pretty much at the core of anywhere where religion meets mythology in modern India. So tell us a little bit about how have you been able to keep the core alive of what you want to do? How do you pick your topics? What's it been like?
Yeah, because actually if you think about it, my diplomatic work as a creative director in a movie, these call for different skill sets.
Right.
As compared to writing a book. You make a very good point. I think one of the things I've learned is the value of compartmentalization.
Okay.
I think it was Amir Khan who had said this, and I'm a big fan of his work. It said that you have to, uh, when you're making a movie, when you're making the product, be true to your soul. But when you start marketing, use only your mind. Right? Some movies of his haven't worked. That
Right.
happens, right? There are some which I haven't liked also,
Right.
but there are many that I do like. But my learning from what Amir Khan said is the value of compartmentalizing life. Uh, because you're a different person when you're writing a book. You're a different person uh, when if your job is to engage with the British High Commissioner in India, or someone within the FCDO office in the UK, or the Royal Palace. It's a different approach, right? And if you can learn to just compartmentalize life, you can actually do many things simultaneously, rather within one lifetime, not simultaneously, within one lifetime. I'm not saying this is an easy skill, but the way the world is emerging right now, most of the youth of today will go through multiple careers, not just jobs, multiple careers. I've been through 4 careers. I've been a financial services guy, an author, a diplomat, and a broadcaster, movie guy as well. These are very different. And now fifth one is starting, video games.
Right.
These are very, very different skill sets, right? How do you kind of balance all of this? So think through and just be true to yourself. Like when I'm writing, I just write instinctively. I just follow my soul. But if I'm in a diplomatic job, there's a filter all the time. I'm very careful of every word that I say, as you should be.
Right.
You know, if you're a diplomat, compartmentalizing, I guess that actually works. I'm not saying it's the easiest thing to do. So I don't try and do all things simultaneously. So when I'm writing, I'll take a 3-week writing break, right? When I'm only writing, my phone is switched off most of the time. I don't like engaging with people. I don't like talking to people. But I will not try and do a meeting at the Royal Palace in London and then come home and write a book, because one can't shift that.
Right.
And multitasking nahi hota hai. Multitasking is the biggest con job.
Multitasking is the biggest con job. Okay.
Frankly, at least I believe that, right? You can't do multiple things simultaneously. You're productive at none of them, right? You can do serial tasking. Like when you're doing one thing, do that completely, and then pick another thing maybe the next day, and then do that completely, right? Maybe that works for me. But it's a very good question. I never thought about it deeply. Maybe a lot of this was just instinctive. I didn't really think about it.
But then you had, you're not just talented in terms of writing, you have a large amount of skill sets that you were able to use in all these different aspects,
And sometimes you discover things about it. I'd never worked in a government job before.
Right. A diplomat.
Yeah. And it's a completely different mindset. And I didn't know I could, do a good job or do well out there. I must have done a good job because they gave me an extension also. Normally it's a 3-year tenure. They gave me an extension. I served nearly 4.5 years out there. But it's a completely different mindset in the government. It's a very protocol conscious place. The physical file actually moves from office to office. You write notations. I learned all these things, right? And it's great fun. It's like you're developing a different part of your brain, right? And I enjoy going into a new uncomfortable place and then learning those skills. It actually, I think, develops your brain.
If somebody,
Muscles grow against resistance. In your brain, if you see it as a muscle, you need to give it resistance. If you're doing the same thing again and again, the muscle starts atrophying. So put yourself in an uncomfortable situation and watch your brain grow.
I want to quickly shift a little bit of gears to Gen Z and millennials. As you said, a large part of the audience for your books is the same, and so is it for Brut. Why should a 20-year-old today, care about mythology? They have Netflix, they have, Amazon, they have so many other social media and reels. Why should they care about mythology today?
To paraphrase Charles Dickens, the modern times is simultaneously the best of times and the worst of times. Many of the kids today, in some ways I envy them because they have opportunities that I didn't have when I was 20. They have access to knowledge. I love reading. I love learning new things. It was difficult to do that when I was 20. There was no internet. Books weren't that easy to
Easy,
get.
right.
Now, the knowledge of the entire world is on your fingertips. In some ways, the best of times. Some ways, the worst of times. We all did stupid things when we were 20. But our stupidities are buried in time.
It's not on social media.
No one knows about it.
Right.
Except our family and close friends. I've had fights, I've had fist fights. We all did stupid things when we were young. But today's kids, everything that they do is recorded and the internet never forgets.
Right.
I think this, in many ways, is a large reason for rising depression levels among kids, rising anxieties among kids, because they simply just cannot be kids, right? Any mistake that they make can be pulled up 15 years later, man. Okay. On a job, they're getting married, and think of the amount of pressure that's there on them. At a time like this, what kind of philosophies will actually reduce their anxiety? What kind of philosophies will give them strength and purpose? Will it just be what the West tells us, that forget everything, just go buy the next pair of shoes? Is consumerism really going to help you? Or is there strength in our traditional philosophies? I argue that there is strength in our traditional philosophies which can give you that sense of purpose. And if our culture is the only culture from the pre-Bronze Age that has still survived, its resilience itself is a sign of how strong this culture is and how it gives you the strength that you need to survive what is a very challenging time. The beauty of our culture, our traditional culture, you don't have to choose between liberalism and traditions, between science and religion. In our way, you can have both. You can be both scientific and religious at the same time, because our religious traditions do not say that you have to shut down thinking, right? In fact, our religious traditions encourage
Questioning, right.
which means science and religion can coexist. Our religious traditions, our ancient ones, I'm not talking about the last few centuries. If you read our ancient scriptures, they themselves speak of the equality between men and women. So you don't have to give up your traditions to find equality. It's there as a part of our traditions, right? We are talking about transgender rights today. And in much of the Western world, Middle Eastern world, this is leading to a lot of heartburn, a lot of
Right.
societal issues. In India, it has never been a problem.
It's always been a part of our
Kinnars have
culture.
been a part of our traditions. In fact, in the Kumbh Mela, and there are akhadas of saints who have very high status in our society. One of the traditional akhadas is the Kinnar Akhada,
Kinnar Akhada.
the akhada of transgenders. Equality between men and women. Lord Shiva, to prove it, merged into Goddess Parvati. Goddess Parvati is his left half, Ardhanarishwar, and Lord Shiva is the right half, right? To show the equality between the feminine and the masculine to his devotees. This is the beauty of the Indian tradition, that you can have a marriage of both and you can have a sense of peace and purpose at this very challenging time. Which is why I think many of the Indian youth are actually reading my books,
Right.
or watching my documentaries or podcasts, because they want this something that will ground them and give them that strength and purpose, but will still allow them to lead modern lives, right? It's not something which is telling them, boss, now you have to stop everything. Men and women have to be separate. Women sit at home. Men go. Our traditions aren't saying that.
And
Our
that's
traditions respected women and men together.
absolutely, and that's the bedrock of why mythology. There are many answers in mythology and older stories that have been part of India for so long. Do you think, Amish, there is a gap today, in a way which you're fulfilling, a gap today between translating a lot of, whether it's older scriptures? I know we've used the word mythology here, but let's talk about older epics that we have. Translating that to what modern world needs in the modern era today for young people.
It's a revival of traditions in many ways. I think one of the misfortunes of India post 1947 is that we didn't decolonize our education system. So we don't teach enough about our own traditions. Our education system is designed to make frankly, Englishmen out of us.
Okay.
I know it's ironical that I say this because we are speaking in English. I'm not anti-West. There are good things about the West. I'm not anti-English. It is a language of advancement. It helps you compete internationally as well.
It
So I'm
sort of
not
became a language of administration in India, right?
Yeah.
It was what
From
we
the
had
British
from the
Raj
British
times,
Raj time.
and it
right?
continued. So I'm not anti-West. I'm not anti-English. There are strengths to it. We must keep learning that. But first, we must learn our own traditions. First, we must get rooted in our own tradition. And our education system, frankly, doesn't do that. I can tell you, when I was in the UK working with the Indian government, I was Minister of Culture and Education at the Indian High Commission to the UK. So I looked at the education portfolio as well. It was easier to introduce or, excuse me, promote yoga in British schools than it is in India.
There was resistance here
Yeah.
and no resistance there.
Yeah.
And why is
Because
that?
they know it's good for you. Okay, are the roots Hindu, Buddhist of yoga? Yes, they are. But no one's asking you to convert to Hinduism or Buddhism to do yoga. If it's good for you, do it. It's like many things do have a religious root. Like, for example, the ambulance service. It has roots in Christian tradition. That's a fact. What do you think the cross in Red Cross is supposed to
Was for-
symbolize? Now, does that mean that if you're not a Christian and you've had an accident on the road and
You're
an
not going to
ambulance
use the
no,
ambulance?
I'm not going to get in, man. Save your life, right? So yes, yoga has Hindu Buddhist roots. There's no denying that. No one is forcing you to convert, right? But it's good for you, so do it, right? Now these are things that should be taught in our schools. Many of our traditions which teach liberalism, so that we don't have to Americanize to become liberal. We can be liberal by being truly Indian. And this, unfortunately, is not done in our education system. I'm hoping it would get decolonized sometime. I think people have to put that pressure up, that we want to learn our own traditions. We want to learn our own texts. We want to learn our own plays, our own literature, our own sciences, our own medicine. Then maybe there won't be a need for Babas. Then maybe there won't even be a need for me, right? But because this is not done through our education system, there are, because the market has, in a way, frankly, there's a demand for this.
Right.
Most Indians do want to feel reconnected to their roots. So there's a market for Babas, for people like me, and at least we're doing something about it. That's the way I see it.
What are one or two books that you think in the education system in India children must read today to help them culturally connect better?
There's this beautiful book called The Beautiful Tree. It's written by this Gandhian called Dharampalji, who used British records to write off how what our education system was like before the British destroyed it with their taxation policies. So the thing that we had no education system is not true. We had a much more widespread education system than what we actually even have today. And because it was there in practically every village. And then there were universities, as you know, Nalanda,
Right.
so many, yeah? So for the senior education. According to Dharampalji, the texts that were used out there, I would strongly advise those things should be revived. So I'll tell you what they were. Mathematics, there used to be this text called Leelavati. It was written by Bhaskaracharya, 1015, perhaps 1200 years ago. He communicated various theories of mathematics through Sanskrit poetry and stories. Think of the creativity, marriage of the left brain and the right brain. Why is the text called Leelavati? Because his daughter's name was Leelavati. And he wrote this book for her. Okay, and this was the standard text that was used for mathematics. Ramayana and Mahabharata were taught, not just as stories, because actually they were lessons in dharma. And I'm talking about Gurukuls, Pathshalas, and even many madrasas. Okay, they were lessons in dharma. They were lessons in governance. The Shanti Parva of Mahabharata is actually a very deep lesson in governance, of Vidurniti, right from there. When King Sugriv sends his army out to search for Sita Ma. And I'd ask, if you think a logical question, everyone knew where Lanka was. So why was he sending his army north, west, east, south? It's actually a geography lesson, right? In the garb of a story. That's how our ancestors thought. They used to try and make things interesting. Whereas our schools, make even interesting things boring, right? History, which can be so interesting, becomes a list of dates,
Right.
right? Whereas our ancestors converted even apparently boring things like mathematics into poetry and stories so that you would enjoy it. So many of these texts, yes, should be taught. In medicine, we should teach Charak and Shushruta Samhita. In mathematics, we should teach Bodhayana's Shulba Sutra. Bodhayana discovered Pythagoras' theorem 200 years before Pythagoras did. These things should be taught in our schools and colleges.
These things should be taught in our schools and colleges. I'm going to shift gears to your new book, Amish, 11th Century, bringing it to modern readers. Tell us, how did you research for it? I recall in one of your earlier interviews, you had said that the universe that you write about appears to you. You start seeing it that way visually. So tell us a little bit about how did you go about the current one?
So the current one is called the Chola Tigers, and it is linked to a 2020 released book called Legend of Suheldev. They're independent books, but they're linked to each other, and they're both on the response by Indians to the attack by Mahmud Ghazni on Somnathji. Mahmud Ghazni, as you know, was a foreigner. He was a Turk, a foreigner who attacked India and destroyed Somnathji. Legend of Suheldev was...
I was just about to say, in that we see...
King Suheldev fought a battle called the Battle of Bahraich, which is just east of Ayodhya, where he put together an army of Hindus of all castes, of Indian Muslims, Buddhists, who defeated the Ghaznavid army in a battle in 1034. And he followed Lord Krishna's philosophy, which is Shate Shatyam Samacharit, that the wicked should be treated with wickedness. So he killed the entire army, no mercy, nothing. And because of that, the Turks didn't return to India for 150 years. That was one story. The other story is a response to the attack on Somnathji, which the most powerful man on earth at that time, Emperor Rajendra Chola, he ordered. Emperor Rajendra Chola, unfortunately, our history books don't teach us enough about southern India, western India, central India, eastern India, northeast India. It's sadly our history books textbooks are excessively Delhi focused. I'm not saying Delhi is not important. Of course, it's important, but other regions should also get fair airtime.
Especially in the south, I think there's a lot.
Not just south, everywhere.
East as well.
East. The Ahoms of Northeast, Gurjar Pratyaharas of Gujarat, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, the Parmars of Central India, MP, they're all ignored. And they were great empires, but they're all ignored. The Sindhs, they're all ignored. Anyway, coming back, Emperor Rajendra Chola, he was the most powerful man on earth at that point of time. A very, very devout Shaivite, liberal emperor, like all emperors in that. So he encouraged Buddhist viharas, Vaishnav temples, all of them. But he himself was a very devout Shaivite. And this invader came and destroyed one of the greatest temples of Lord Shiva, Somnathji. And he ordered a response. So he sent, this book is about that response, that he ordered a surgical strike in a way. An assassination squad was sent to Ghazni to assassinate Mahmud and to retrieve the pieces of the shattered shivling that Mahmud had taken to Ghazni after destroying Somnathji. So this is the story of, this is the adventure of that squad.
Another blockbuster, which I cannot wait to delve into. And I will very quickly. I'm down to my last two questions, Amish. If Lord Shiva were to take avatar in the modern times today, what kind of avatar do you think he would take? Would he be a Gen Z? Would he be, give us a sense of how you would imagine him?
Traditionally technical answer, because Lord Vishnu took avatars.
Right.
Lord Shiva never took an avatar.
Right.
An Ansh would come. So there's like if Lord Vishnu takes an avatar, it means he's not in Vaikunt anymore. He has come as Ram, lives his life, goes back up. Whereas Lord Shiva, just an Ansh comes down, which means he's still there in Kailash, but an Ansh comes down. Like Hanumanji is an Ansh of Lord Shiva, or Jalandhar was an Ansh of Lord Shiva. So I think the best way to see Lord Shiva is his Ansh is in all of us. It's up to us to discover that Ansh and be worthy of it. And particularly, I think among the youth, he's, one of my younger readers had said that he's the dude of the gods. He's particularly appealing, I think, to the youth because he's a brilliant dancer, brilliant musician, obsessively in love with his wife, treats his wife as an equal, a source of the Vedas, but also, not elitist, it's like it's more the masses kind of love. There's that line, na, jiska koi nahi uska Shiv ji hai. Yeah, so I think he's particularly, with all respect to other gods and goddesses of all religions, yeah, he's particularly attractive to the youth.
Particularly attracted to the youth. His Ansh is in all of us, up to us on how we are true to it and take it forward. My last question to you is, if you had one philosophy that you live by, that you would like to share for our young audiences, that you practice every day, something that you live by.
Love your family. That's all. That is usually the most important thing in life. Love your God, love your country, and relax. Life is long. If times are bad, they get over. Just chill.
Just chill and love at the center of everything that you do.
Love for family, country, God.
Family, country, God. Amish Tripathi, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your views so candidly with Brut and audience today.
Thank you. Thank you. My pleasure.